It's May 15th on Read Through the Word. Hope you ladies and gentlemen are doing well today. We are going to be looking at Psalm 131. It's a pretty short psalm. In fact, let's see, 3 verses. Yes, so is 133. It's 3 verses. Charles Spurgeon said this of Psalm 131. Whatever the occasion was, this short psalm is a beautiful denial of pride, arrogance, and self-ambition. It is one of the shortest psalms to read, but one of the longest to learn. It speaks of a young child, but it contains the experience of a man in Christ. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. You know, as a person that does not love reading, I know that's funny because I've written some books, but I really am not a passionate reader. And I've always wanted to be. I would go to the library when I was little and get all those Betsy books and all the Ramona books and Nancy Drew. Oh, how I wanted to want to read Nancy Drew because a lot of my friends were reading them, but seriously, I just didn't like to read. I had trouble reading, and I still do have trouble reading. But so I would always go for the short books, the short articles. That was just me. So honestly, when I looked at this, I was like, oh, 3 verses. Whoo! This is good. And here, Mr. Spurgeon is telling us it is one of the shortest psalms to read, but one of the longest to learn. Which is so true when you read it and you really think about it and pause. And as we've talked about, Selah, having that stop and think about it. We don't have one of those stop and think about it because by the time you stop and think about it, it's over. But Willem VanGemeren said this: "Oh, the wonder of quiet contentment with God. He has enjoyed the walk with God in which he stilled or composed himself and quieted, silenced, or found rest for his soul." This is where David has landed. And he, in his journey and his experience with God, again, we don't know exactly when this was, but he's gotten to this place where his soul, he can say that it is... that he has calmed and quieted himself. And honestly, I thought when I read that, my first question to myself was, Wendy, what do you do to calm and quiet yourself? And I was wondering the same with you. What are some of the things that you participate in, some of the things that you do, maybe someone that you talk to calm and quiet yourself? Maybe you jot those answers down in your journal today, just as reflection for yourself, or maybe even share them in the comments of today's lesson. Some of the things that I do, honestly, to quiet myself is I sit down and I'll turn the TV on and I will watch nothing. Just some old show like Little House on the Prairie or The Waltons, the Dick Van Dyke Show, something in black and white, Leave It to Beaver, I Love Lucy. Something just to take my mind off the rush around me. I do that by just completely getting lost in something familiar, something funny, often. Sometimes it's pretty serious on Walton's Mountain. But it takes me away. I escape a little bit. Another thing that I also like to do is I like to just sit outside and pet my dog or throw the ball with my dog, who's usually sitting right here with me while I'm recording. I also like to just talk out loud to the Lord, not necessarily a formal prayer, but sometimes kind of like gruffy prayers, even, Lord, this is just hard, or you step up here, help me, that kind of thing. Just kind of an unloading if it were, of just what everything that's jumbled up that's like right here that seems to be choking me. I just get all that out with the Lord. Music, I love music, and I love anything from 70s to 80s rock to instrumental hymns to more modern contemporary songs. Anything that I can just, even 80s rock will calm me down, believe it or not. It'll take me out of the moment. Let me rephrase that. Not necessarily calm me down, because, some of those songs really kind of get your juices going, but it takes me out of the moment. And honestly, another thing that I like to do, if it's close to bedtime and I've just had enough of the business of the day and I just cannot take another thing, I just get in the bed and go to sleep and just say, it's done. I'm done. I'm done for the day. I'll wake up tomorrow and the day will be different. So those were just some of the ways that I will quiet myself. I shared a little bit of the commentary from Enduring Word under that little link there, A Weaned Child. I thought it was really interesting that David said, instead, I've calmed myself like a weaned child who no longer cries for its milk. Yes, like a weaned child is my soul within me. It's repeated twice, and I found that really kind of interesting because a child that is nursing is dependent on his or her mother to provide its daily subsistence. So it kind of was like, well, isn't a child that's weaned realizing they don't need their mamas, so we don't need God? Maybe y'all thought about that same thing. So I put a couple comments. These are not my comments. These are from Enduring Word. That's why I put the link there so you can follow over, check it out. These are not Wendy's words, but just kind of gave a little bit more of an idea behind that whole idea of an explanation behind the idea of a weaned child. And that hopefully that will help maybe explain a little bit. But I just kind of unpacking this whole idea about David's quiet heart, taking this verse by verse. David understood, in order for him to have this quiet heart and this this quiet spirit and this calm spirit and quiet heart, he understood the value of humility and submission to God. He says, my heart is not proud and my eyes are not haughty. He understood that he understood his place in the hierarchy of the God-man relationship and the joy that comes from submitting to that and not getting caught up in self-worth, self-promotion, and pride, as a king could very easily do. All the things that David has been through has certainly brought him to a place of humility and submission to God. David understood the value of confident trust in God. He says that he doesn't concern himself with the things that are too great and too awesome for him to grasp. He doesn't get up trying to solve the world's problems. He knows that God is sitting on his throne. God's taking care of everything. God has brought him this far. God will fulfill the plan for his life. So why should he try to toil his mind and calculate his next move on how to solve something, basically? Which I do. I just try to figure things out. And sometimes I just feel like the Lord just wants to go pat me on the top of the head from his seat and just go, just relax. I got it. He also understood the value of strong faith and relationship. And I put another little description there of the idea of weaning. It seems terrible to the child, but it's necessary for the child's development. And I loved that. Because the child's still dependent on its mom. He still has a relationship with his mom, but he's also growing and developing into the child he's supposed to be. I loved that. And then David also understood the value of pointing others to the sufficiency of God. He's calling Israel. He's saying, Israel, oh, Israel, put your hope in the Lord now and always. Charles Spurgeon also says this: it will endure forever, but it does have a beginning. If there is any unconverted person here who cannot understand all of this, which these 3 verses, he says, I pray the Lord to make him a child first, and then make him a weaned child, a developed child, a growing child, a child that's very aware of God and the relationship that man has with God. I just thought it was a beautiful way to reflect on that. I hope that you do too. And that we learn how to really learn to live weaned. We'll see you next time on Read Through the Word.